Okay, so this is pretty cool. It's a car jump starter and an OBD scanner all in one. I like how these diagnostic companies are running out of ideas, so they start putting multiple tools into one. I actually think it's pretty cool. But anyways, let's go ahead and check this thing out. Okay, so this is the Mucar Emergency Starter Power JS502 model. And full disclosure, guys, Mucar did send me this for free to try out. But I also like to keep these reviews brutally honest. If I find problems with stuff, I will definitely let you guys know. And also, if I think it's a good product, I'll let you guys know as well. But let's take a look at the back. It's got all the features. And I guess this is using lithium polymer cells, which I'm not 100% sure, but it makes sense if all of these jump starters use lithium polymer, because I don't see how lithium ion has enough current delivering capacity for a car system, especially like 600 amps. However, lithium polymer is a little bit more sketchy as far as like fires go, so keep that in mind. But it says you can jumpstart a car 30 times with this thing, so it's pretty cool. And you can also charge and power devices with it. And it's also got a built-in flashlight, and it also does all your basic OBD2 functions, so that'll be interesting to check out. Got some warnings on there, and here on the side it's got some technical information. It's about 1.8 amp hours, and starting current is 600 amps and peak current is 2000 amps. It says it can start gasoline vehicles up to 6 liters. My van is a 7.5, so technically this may not work on it. However, it just depends on how dead the battery is. Anyways, let's get this thing open. Got some instructions. I'm definitely gonna read through those. And here's the device itself. Looks like it's at full power already. For an OBD2 scanner, it is a little bit bulky, but you know, it's also a jump starter, so it makes sense. And here we got the charging cable. It's USB-C, and it looks like it's USB-C in only, so you can't charge stuff with USB-C through this, but it does have a regular USB out, which is not bad at all. And it's also got an old school USB micro cable, and that is for updating the OBD2 software. And here is the jump starting adapter. These are some pretty decent size battery cables. Definitely have a lot of spring tension on there. Got some nice copper clamps. And I wouldn't say those battery cables are crazy big, but you know, big enough for these little jump starters. I'm actually surprised these little jump starters work as well as they do. Even on cars that are like really dead, where the battery is like 2 volts or something, it still works. And here is the little jump starter control box, and I'm not exactly sure what's in one of these, but all these little jump starters have these things, and I like how it's separate, so if this thing dies, you can always get a new one and you don't have to get rid of the entire thing. But it looks like it has a reverse polarity protection, and it'll tell you if it's correct. And it's also got a boost button. One thing I'll say is I kind of wish it had like a little case to put everything in. So there's just a lot of cables. I really like having devices that come with a nice little case that fits everything perfectly. So I went ahead and created a fault on the 4Runner here. So let's go ahead and test out the OBD2 side of this tool. It's definitely handy to have a built-in flashlight and power it on. You just hold the power button and it turns on. Definitely not super bright, but I mean, it's not terrible. Definitely handy when it's nighttime and you gotta find the OBD2 connector. And it powers on. And to turn it off, you can just cycle through. Got strobe and SOS. And also if you turn it on by holding it, you can also just turn it straight off by holding it. Anyways, I'll go ahead and turn key on, engine off. And I'll turn off the fan so I don't kill the battery. And this is a voltage meter, by the way. People always ask me about it. Clock wasn't working on here, so I put a little voltage meter behind the lens. Before I kill the battery and actually need the jump starter, which I don't want to do because I put a new battery in this thing. Let's go ahead and test this out. So it's your basic kind of navigation buttons, OK, back, emission monitors, shortcut, and a help button. And the buttons definitely feel nice and responsive. We'll go to diagnose, and looks like it's going fairly quick. Scanning for the correct protocol. And it's got a little indicator light down here to give you a quick reading if there's no DTC pending or permanent. And it gives you a quick monitor status. The check engine light is on, 2 DTCs, and it gives you which monitors are completed or not supported and how many data streams. So pretty handy information. Just hit OK. And now we're in the diagnostic menu. Go ahead and read the code. So we got a P0100 mass or volume airflow circuit, and those current and air intake temp sensor 1. And let's go ahead and hit the help button. That's cool. It gives you some more detailed information about it. So hit back, check out the temp sensor circuit, hit the help button. It's definitely nice to give you a little bit of context about what the code means pretty quickly right there. Don't need an internet connection or anything. But anyways, we'll go ahead and hit back, turn the key off. And of course I just disconnected the mass airflow sensor, which is also the air intake temp sensor. So clip that back in, and we'll make sure the key is on, engine off, and we'll go over to erase codes. We'll hit OK. Make sure ignition's on, engine off. And the codes have been erased. So hit OK. Then we can go over to emissions readiness monitors. And of course we just cleared the check engine light, so a lot of our monitors are not going to be set yet. We're going to have to drive it around. But it says 0 DTCs and 0 pending. And just a quick tip, you want to make sure that all of these monitors are set before you have your emissions test done if you live in a place where you need that, or else they will fail it. And also, this is a great way if you're buying a car, you can tell if someone just reset the check engine light to hide something. But anyways, we'll go back and we'll do the data stream in just a moment. Oh, I forgot the freeze frame data. Dang it. But basically, it'll save all of the data PIDs when the check engine light comes on. So you can look in here and give you a lot better idea of what's going on. And this is really helpful for diagnosing stuff, especially like fuel trims and everything. And O2 sensor test, it does not work on this vehicle. It's a 99, so it's pretty old. It was only 4 years after they started OBD2. A lot of the newer vehicles are going to have that. We can try it, but really, OT sensor test works on this one. I've had other OBD2 readers where it doesn't work. Interesting. But I really need to look further into the O2 sensor testing. Definitely seems pretty useful. I'm not actually sure if it's really working. Yeah, because it's just giving me that maximum limit as the test value. So it may not actually be working, which makes sense because all the other OBD2 readers I've had don't work with the O2 sensors on this specific vehicle. Onboard monitors. Yeah, I have not gone into this sort of stuff as much. I have to read more into onboard monitors. And also evap system test. This vehicle does not support that either. I don't think I found a vehicle that supports that. Yeah, not support it. Oh, interesting. Vehicle info. Yeah, it doesn't really come up on this vehicle. It's just a little bit too old. Not everything works. But anyways, let's go over to data stream. This is pretty useful. And I'll go ahead and start the vehicle up. So I'll go to view all items. Loading data. It doesn't take too long. All your data PIDs. Right now we just started it open loop because the O2 sensors haven't warmed up. And then calculate load value, all that good stuff. It's in Celsius. I think we can change the units. All your fuel trims, oxygen sensor voltage. So let's go back and you can select specific items, which is definitely useful. If you just want to see like all your fuel trims in one place, we'll do the fuel system status, short-term, long-term fuel trim, and we'll do vehicle RPM. I believe you hit back. Yep. It just brings those specific things. So if you want to see it all together, anyways, let's go back, and we have view graphic items. That's interesting. I wonder if this thing has graphing, because that would be pretty useful. Let's do like short-term fuel trim and engine coolant temp. Whoa, it does have graphing. I didn't know this thing would have graphing. That's pretty handy. That's cool. Yeah, I did not expect that, but it's a pretty basic graph. It just gives you a maximum and a minimum of each thing, and it tells you the actual number down below for each thing, which is pretty cool. And it looks like you can only graph 2 at a time, and you can see our short-term fuel trim is switching back and forth like normal, and the coolant temp is rising because we just started it. But anyways, let's go back to the main menu, and let's go to setup, language, keep it in English, unit of measure, go to imperial because I live in the United States, and get the record mode. So if you want to record stuff, you can. And beeper, I always turn those off because it's annoying, but apparently you can print stuff. However, you have to connect it to your computer and download some software and or drivers. However, that just seems like kind of a pain. If I ever have to like screenshot something, I just take a picture with my phone. It's the easiest way. I'm honestly not gonna try to connect it to my computer. And you can also update it with that micro USB cable that was included. However, if everything pretty much works, then I wouldn't even bother unless there's something specific you're trying to fix. Then maybe they have an update for it. Next, let's go to review. Oh yeah, we just turned on the record function, but I guess everything that it records will show up here. But anyways, we'll go to lookup P0100. Mass airflow circuit A, and you can hit the help and it gives you that same information. But if you just need to look up a code, you can do it there. We'll go to help. But yeah, this is pretty cool. And I think you can find this in the data stream if you just hit help. This is super useful if you don't know what something is on the data stream, like let's say map sensor. So shall display manifold pressure delivered from a manifold absolute pressure sensor if it's utilized. Gives you some pretty good info in there. And it'll give you the print help, tells you how to do the printing, and you get the IM readiness. If you don't know what CCM is, it's a comprehensive component monitor. It tells you what each thing means. But anyways, let's go over to info, and it just gives you information about the device itself. But anyways, that's pretty much all of the basic OBD2 functions. Definitely not bad. I did not expect there to be graphing on here, so that's pretty cool to have. Pretty fast, exactly what you want for a basic OBD2 reader. Sometimes if you have a big full-on diagnostic scanner, takes a while to connect everything and turn it all on, where it's nice to have just a quick OBD2 reader with that as well, so you can just do some quick stuff and you don't have to lug out the big fancy equipment. But anyways, let's go ahead and check out the jump starter section of this tool. So it has a USB-C port to charge the jump starter section, and you can see it's on the last one blinking, so it's almost done charging. And it's got 4 LEDs to tell you the battery level, and right now it's charging and it's on the 4th one, so it's almost done. And I think it turns all solid when it's finished. And it does have a USB out port as well, so check that out. I'll just try to charge something, and it's charging my little work light here. Unfortunately, this jump starter does not have a 12 volt 10 amp barrel jack out connector. A lot of these jump starters have that, and I think that little jack is so useful. You could power all kinds of stuff like a tire inflator or even a smoke leak detector. Pretty disappointing that it does not have the 12 volt out, because I'm also making a little 12 volt power supply with like alligator clips and a push button and toggle switch, with a fuse and everything like that, and a voltage display. So I can power random 12 volt stuff, which is super handy if I go to the junkyard and I say I need to like move a seat track or something to remove the bolts. I can just hook it up to that, or a window. I actually had to do that in the junkyard because according to the instructions, you're not supposed to connect these clamps to anything except a battery. However, in the junkyard with my other jump starter, I did connect these to a window motor, and I actually got it to work. However, you're not really supposed to do that. I don't know if it damages something, and I only got it to work once. I tried it on another window and it didn't work after that. However, the jump starter still worked fine, and I'm not exactly sure if you're really supposed to use this as a power supply, but it would be really nice to have that little 12 volt 10 amp port, and most all of these jump starters have that, except this one does not. So this is the 2000 amp version. They also have a 1000 amp version, which is a little cheaper. And personally, I have had really good luck with these little jump starters. They've always worked really well. Even on cars that have like a battery that's really dead, like 2 volts, I was still able to jump it. I haven't tried this one out yet because I don't have anything to test it on. But this is the little control box, and I like how they have the instructions right on here, because no way I'm going to keep the paper instructions. It just says don't press the boost before connecting the car battery, and then obviously don't connect the 2 clamps together, don't short it out. Only for 12 volt vehicles, don't hook it up to a 24 volt. Obviously red clamp for plus, black for negative. So if the green light is a solid on, you can start the engine. There's the green light where it says correct. And then 5 is red light on with buzzing, reverse connection, and then you just reconnect it properly. I do like how it has reverse connection protection, and it's got a little red light with reverse to tell you. So that is super nice, so you don't like destroy stuff if you accidentally hook it up backwards. You can do some crazy damage when you hook stuff up backwards like that. And then green light blinking, that's when you have to press the boost button. That's gonna be only if the battery is like super dead. And then it says start the engine within 30 seconds, and no lights and no buzzing. Make sure the correct connection and press the boost button. Unfortunately, guys, right now I don't have a vehicle to test this on. I did have a bad battery in the 4Runner a while back that was doing like tests with a different charger and everything. However, I have gotten a brand new battery since then, so I don't want to like completely destroy that battery. But anyways, I just have this like old, kind of worn out battery. However, the voltage is okay. But I'm just gonna hook this thing up. So let's plug that in, and nothing's actually happened to the voltage. However, we do have a green light, so I'm not exactly sure what happens if you were to put a load on this. I don't have really anything that I can think of to put like a, you know, big load on this battery, but maybe eventually I'll have to like figure out some kind of test I can do. Anyways, let's hit the boost button, see if anything happens. Boosted the voltage a little bit, but it's just kind of hard to tell exactly what's going on without actually having a dead battery. But yeah, I wish I had a vehicle to test this out on that actually had a dead battery. But anyways, let's test the reverse polarity function. Make sure that actually works. This is either gonna work or it's gonna create sparks and fire and smoke. Oh, looks like it works. It's pretty cool. I'd be surprised how many people hook their batteries up backwards on accident. And it looks like we got a green light again when we hooked it up right. But really quick, let's test the voltage coming out of the device itself. It's about 12.4. But all I know is these little jump starters are pretty handy when you need one, and they seem to work fairly well. However, once I find a vehicle that needs a jump start and I have this on hand, maybe I'll make a little quick video and put it down in the comments below just to make sure it works and everything. However, all in all, I really like the idea of a tool like this, having an OBD scanner and a jump starter all in one. The OBD side of this thing seemed to work pretty well. It was decently fast, got you in there quick and was able to do what you need to do. I definitely like the little light on there so you could find the plug when it's dark. The graphing was a surprise. Obviously it's not super, complex graphing, but the screen is fairly small, so you really don't need that much on such a small screen anyways. but it was cool to see that on here. A lot of like really cheap OBD scanners don't have any kind of graphene. And I've actually already used this OBD scanner to diagnose a Toyota Camry with a misfire. It worked super well. It definitely did the job, and you know, I was able to get the codes and then erase them after I fixed the problem. And it definitely helped me fix that vehicle. And I also swapped the knock sensors on my mom's Subaru because she's having this knock sensor fault, and I swapped bank 1 with bank 2. And it didn't follow the sensor. And that's not surprising because there was a mouse nest right next to the sensor. I just have not found the wire that's chewed up, but I'm pretty positive there's a wire in there. But I was able to read the codes with this. And I also was able to fix a guy's minivan with some misfires, and I used this code reader for that as well. But definitely a pretty nice little OBD scanner. I can't really say for sure if the jump starter works on this thing. I just gotta wait until I find a dead battery. I also like how big and beefy the battery clamps are. It'll definitely help when you're trying to start a big engine. But the things they could probably improve on is maybe put a bigger flashlight on here. This thing is a little dinky. It's not bad, but I think they could do a little bit better than that. However, it is 2 tools in 1, so I mean, they only have so much room for everything, and this thing isn't that big, you know, for a jump starter and a code reader. But the biggest downside is it just doesn't have that 12 volt 10 amp output. I think that would have been so handy on a tool like this. If Mucar is watching, I would definitely put a 12 volt 10 amp output on this thing. But anyways, guys, I hope you found this video useful. I will definitely leave a link down in the description below if you want to check it out. And I also have another scan tool from Mucar, and it actually has bidirectional capabilities, and that'll be my first bidirectional scan tool, which is going to be super handy with diagnosing stuff where you can just activate solenoids, fuel injectors, like fuel pump and stuff right from the scan tool. But that'll be in another video. Hope you found this video useful, and I will catch you later. Peace out.